Let's bring in Nomi Bar-Yaacov, who is an international negotiator and associate fellow from the Geneva Center for Security Policy. She joins us now from Jerusalem. Nomi, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. So we're getting news of air sirens being ringing out in Jerusalem at the moment. What is it like for you where you are right now?
Well, they're very loud explosions, loudest that I've ever heard in my life, and I'm not that young. And those are the interceptions. So we have the sirens, followed by interceptions, followed by different kinds of noises of explosions. And of course, those can be dangerous due to shrapnel. And of course, they can be dangerous because the interceptions don't always work. So yes, lots of sirens. First siren was at 8:30 a.m. local time this morning. That was a warning siren. It was warning for those in the know and that the attack is on its way. Basically, they didn't want, of course, to inform Iran, so they just said that this is a siren ensuring that people are awake since it's Saturday morning, it's a day off here, and that they're preparing people to go into their safe spaces. So they basically wanted people to prepare the safe areas. But not too long after that, the real sirens were heard. And not so long after that, the explosions were heard. And again, there's a tuned ear. The explosions sound like a massive explosion, but those are so far have been interceptions, have been the sounds, the explosion of the missiles being intercepted.
Naomi, quite a tense situation you're describing there. Great that you are safe at the moment. Of course, at the root of all of this is the failure to get an agreement during those nuclear talks between Iran and the US over Iran's nuclear program. We had those talks on Thursday. It ended without a breakthrough. Tell us why they can't seem to clinch a deal in this situation here.
Well, the US have set the bar extremely high. It wasn't just that they wanted a deal on the nuclear issue, which I think Iran was negotiating in good faith. They wanted a deal on the ballistic missiles, which is Iran's only or main defense, if the nuclear, of course, is viewed as a deterrent not to be used in any event. And they wanted a deal on Iran curbing the long arms known as the proxies, basically the Houthis in Yemen and the militias, the Iranian Shia militias next door in Iraq, and also Hezbollah in Lebanon. So it's, I mean, the bar was set so high that there was sort of the talks were doomed to failure right from the start. But there were scheduled talks in Vienna. Technical teams were meant to sit on Monday and Tuesday to discuss the nuclear deal. So you were basically seeing a repeat pattern of what Trump did earlier on when he greenlighted Israel's attack in June. The attack in June happened in the midst of negotiations in the capital of Oman, Muscat, at that time. And now we're seeing that, again, they're happening in the midst of negotiations. Basically, in Geneva on Thursdays, the teams came out reporting that progress was made. But an Israeli official had reported here that here in Jerusalem, that this date, 28th of February, was agreed upon with the US a long time ago. So the negotiations weren't really carried out in good faith.
And where do you think this leaves negotiations now? You mentioned there they were supposed to get back to the negotiating table this week. What can we expect from the talks now?
Well, of course, they're not going to have negotiations on technical issues during a war or any kind of negotiation. There will be a lot of back-channel negotiations. There will be a lot of behind-the-scenes quiet diplomacy led by the Gulf states. I mean, Bahrain was hit this morning. Qatar managed to intercept attacks. They've closed their airspace. The Gulf states are at the forefront of the mediation and the negotiation, and I think they're going to be working extremely hard to make sure that there is an end in sight for this massive coordinated attack, an unprecedented attack on Iran of a scale that no one has ever seen before. And I think that that is definitely going to, can you hear the siren? There's another siren here. But basically what we're going to see is back-channel diplomacy, behind-the-scenes diplomacy, mainly run by the Gulf states, because no one knows how this is going to end. The US President, Donald Trump, has made it very clear that he's aiming at regime change. We've seen in the past in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and everywhere else that US intervention has not led to anything good in the past. So let's see what they're going to be doing differently, if at all, at this given moment in time, because the main fear is that chaos will ensue. That's what the fear is, that there isn't really a plan. But I assume that there are very serious negotiations to try and ensure that there is an outcome that isn't chaos in Iran. And I wouldn't be surprised if we will see another IRGC commander take place, maybe one that is more amenable to talking to the US. But certainly they would like to get rid of the Supreme Leader, Ali Khamenei, and the Ayatollahs around him.
Nomi, just stay with us as we cross over to Washington.